Awesome. Okay, while I wait for the first person who is going to join my live, let me try and pin the comment. I mean, pin the topic. Right, just a second, guys. Amazing. Hi, Comfort. Welcome. You're the first person on my live, and I'm excited to have you here. Hello, Erife. Hi, Miss Qualities. Good to have you here. I'm trying to pin the topic. Hey, Maya. Great to see you here. Oh, my guest is here. Good afternoon, Ma. Welcome. I'm trying to pin the topic. Please let me know that you can hear me. You know, I like to do this sound check thing a lot, just so that I'm sure that everybody who's on the live can hear me. Hey, Jide. Capo. Great to have you here. Okay, please let me know that you can hear me before we go on. Oh, awesome. Thank you, Jide. Thank you for the feedback. Thank you. Hi, Olainka. It's good to see you. How are you? How are you? Thank you so much, Comfort. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. My president, I greet you. I celebrate you. Whoosh! It's the first Effect Talks for 2024. Whoosh! I am so excited. Even though today is just like a buzzbuzz, but I mean, we move, and I'm grateful to God that we're here for our first live edition. I'm so excited. All right, how are you guys doing? Happy Sunday, happy first Sunday in the month of April. April is such a great month for me and my family. If you follow me, you will know that I'm very pumped about this month and the next few days because great things are happening. TY, wow, please drum rolls for TY. This is first time seeing TY, but in like 20-30 years. Welcome, TY. It's so good to see you here. Thank you for joining. Oh my God, I'm so excited about today's topic. I'm excited about what we're going to be sharing. I know that sometime, was it 2 years ago, we did a series on raising children, right? On parenting, on school teachers. I mean, it was really good, right? It was, I mean, we had different people come talk to us on the different aspect, the spiritual aspect, the physical aspect, the emotional aspect, the educational aspect. It was such a great conversation. If you missed it, you can go all the way back, and I'm sure you'll find it. Mr. Adedigba, it's so good to have you here. Good afternoon, good evening, ma'am. So welcome again, everyone. Welcome to the first Effect Talks episode for year 2024. Like, it has been a season. I think the last one we did was in November last year, if I'm not mistaken. And then, of course, life happened to me. Should I say motherhood, pregnancy, everything happened. But I'm so grateful and thankful to God that we're back here, back and better. And I trust God for the grace, for consistency, that as we have started, we just keep going. Nothing would, slow us down and all that. Today we're going to be talking about raising wholesome children. We're going to be talking about some of the common parenting mistakes. The honest reality is that today, in this world today, we can definitely not compare the way that our parents, raised us and how parenting was done years ago to how parenting is or should be done now, because things have really changed. Things have really, 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 really changed, right? The children that we have today, should we call them like the tech children? Sometimes, things that we could never say to our parents then, and the things that we hear these children say now, and they don't mean to be rude. And I'm going to give a very practical example. Like my son, he can be speaking to someone, and then I'll say, "Oh, someone, what did you say?" Say, "Oh, I wasn't talking to you, Mom. I was talking to her." Ella. Wow, how bold. I say, boy, it's not lying. But in my mind, I'm like, dude, that's rude. What do you mean you're not talking to me? But I mean, I just want you, like, I could have never said that to my father or my mother. I said, I'm not talking to you, I'm talking to her. Wow, you will say, no, daddy, I couldn't remember sorrow. I mean, you will say it's a lot of respect and regard, but now they just say it and I'm like, wow, okay, amazing. Anywho, so I'm going to very quickly read our guest's profile, right? And then we would start. I'll just ask her to send an invite and then we start. But before then, let's just take the opening prayer. So, Father, we are grateful for another amazing episode of Effect Talks. Thank you for how far you have helped us. Thank you for what we're going to be talking about today. We pray for wisdom, we pray for inspiration, we pray for insight, we pray for utterance for our guests in the name of Jesus, and we pray that you will give us the grace, the capacity to raise wholesome children in every area and aspect of their lives in the name of Jesus. Thank you, Lord, for answered prayers. In Jesus' mighty name we have prayed. Amen. So I have with me today Mrs. Adesimbo Ogumola Banjo. She's the one who is going to be answering all our questions. And welcome to everyone who is just joining. Welcome. Thank you all for joining, right? So while I wait for her to send me a request, I'm just going to quickly read out her profile. So Adesimbo Banjo is a seasoned educator with experience of over 2 decades in the early years and primary education in the private educational sector. She's an educational consultant, a parenting coach, and an author. She's very passionate about children, education, parenting, and family life as a whole. Our goal is to raise the next generation of godly leaders by impacting and influencing the younger generation and partner with parents, teachers, and adults who work with children. Adesimbo has a solid commitment to the social, moral, and academic growth, as well as the overall development of every child by fostering meaningful relationships with children, teachers, and parents. She helps parents and teachers to be transformative with children under their care. She advocates continuously for the cause of children. Her work as an experienced educator has impacted the lives of children, teachers, and parents she comes in contact with. She was the head of Role Model School till 2024 this year, and that's a very good school, by the way. Very good foundational school for your child, right? A very good school. And if you're in Lagos, that's a good school to take your child to. Simba consults on parenting and educational matters. She organizes parenting workshops and she's involved with training teachers both in public and private sector. She's the founder and lead consultant of Adulam Point Education and Family Life Consult. She enjoys reading, traveling, and writing. And as we continue towards the end, she's going to talk to us about Adulam Point Education and Family Life Consult. So I want to believe that, yeah, will be that of our guest. I hope you're all excited. And if you have questions, if you have challenges with this parenting journey, you can drop your questions and we'll try to take as many as possible. So I have accepted the request, ma'am. Just waiting for, did something go up, but something happened? Let's try again. Let's do this again. Also, welcome everyone who's just joining. Welcome to Dam Stitches. Welcome to Nikki Twin, to Kearney, to Imola Olua, Queen, Chidima. Welcome M&M Academy. Excited to be seeing you all on the live today. Thank you for joining the first Effect Talks show for 2024. All right, let me see. Let's try again. Let's do this again. Welcome, Toyin. Great to have you here. Toyin Tunde Oladipo. Welcome. Thank you for joining. All right, so I have tried to accept. And I've also sent an invite. I'm not sure what is going on. Let's see. Let me see. Let's see what's happening. All right. I've seen your request and I've accepted, and I've also sent you one since I'm unable to see you. Welcome to DB Coxie. Thank you for joining. So you can try to send it again. Let's see if it will go through, because I've accepted it over here. Anywho, so while we're waiting for her to join, what, like I said, we're talking about raising wholesome children. We're talking about some of the common mistakes that parents of this age make, right? Things that maybe we learned unconsciously or consciously from our own parents, and things that we cannot afford to do in raising the children that we have as at now, right? I know that parenting is like an Herculean task. It's not a walk in the park. It's not a walk in the park, and I know that. I mean, you might be. In fact, I don't want to say it's difficult, but it's a lot of hard work. It's a lot of hard work, and may God really help us to raise these children right. Because sometimes I'm like, God, just a beg, God, just a beg. Welcome to Life Coach. Welcome to Pretty Peas. Thank you for joining. DB Cogsy, welcome. Yay! Awesome.
Wait,
Welcome,
wait,
man. So good
wait.
to see
I
you.
can't even see you.
You can't see me.
Well, I can see you. I can see you. I can see you.
Awesome.
Can you see me?
Yes, I
Can you
can
see
see
me?
you. I can see you.
Okay.
Let me see. Is
Am
it
I
my?
positioned properly?
Yes, I think you. I believe you are. I can see you. Yes, you're positioned properly. I can
Wait,
see you.
please.
Or you can just bring the camera down a little
Down.
bit. No. I mean up. Maybe I said that
Up.
wrongly.
Okay.
Just a little bit. Right. So that it captures your entire face. I think this is better. Awesome stuff. Great.
Wait, how come I
Welcome.
can't see myself?
Oh, you can see yourself. Oh, we can
I
see
can't.
you. And everybody's commenting that they can see you. We
I
can hear
can't
and
even see
understand.
myself.
Oh, wow. Amazing.
Um,
For real. Wow. But we can see you. Do you want to redo this? Do you want to try again to go out and come?
okay, let me okay. Let me try
Okay,
again. Yeah.
because
Let me try
we can
again.
see you and everybody's commenting that they can see you, but we can try this again.
Okay.
Awesome.
Okay.
Awesome.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you for your feedback, guys. Thank you so much. I'm happy that you can see her, but she would go out and come in again, and let's see if she'll be able to see herself this time around. Right? Thank you. Yay! So, we're going to be discussing. Welcome, Topsy. Welcome, everyone. Welcome, Bada Depimpe. Welcome, Freda. Welcome, Nancy Foma. Welcome, everyone, guys. Welcome. So she's going to come back, and then let's hope that it will be better and we can go. So, as I was saying, raising children is a lot of hard work, right? There's the God part, which is very important, right? You can never take God out of the equation, because I'm sure that there's a divine manuscript for raising children. Now, there's also the part that we have to do, the knowledge part, and I believe that that's a lot of what we're going to be doing here today, the knowledge part, getting knowledge on how to raise children. Children are different. Children have different personalities. They have their mindsets. Yes,
Let's
awesome.
good.
Can you
Yes.
see yourself now?
Yes,
Okay,
I
great.
can.
It's great. Welcome again, Ma. Good evening,
Thank
Ma.
you.
So
Thank you
excited.
very much.
Thank you for
I'm so happy to be here.
agreeing to be on this live. Thank you so much. We don't take it for granted.
Thank
We're excited to see
God.
you. Thank you for being here.
Thank God.
Whoosh! All right. And you look really good. You look really, really
Thank you. Thank you very much.
amazing, right?
Thank you. Thank you so
Awesome.
much.
So thank you
Thank you
again
so
for being
much.
part of today's live. I know that this is your forte. I know that you're very passionate about this topic or these kinds of topic, and that has to do with
Yeah.
parents, that has to do with raising children in general. And I know that you have
Yes.
a lot of experience with children as a professional experience.
Mm.
Thank God for what you have been doing. For those of us that know you, so I know that you have experienced different kinds of children, you have seen
Yeah.
different types of parents,
Yeah.
you've handled different issues and all that. I mean, you have a lot of observations, and that's probably has helped to shape your mindset on topics like this. So that's why we're going to be discussing this, because the honest truth is that it's not easy to raise children. We know it's not a walk in the park, right? It
Yeah.
takes years. Whatever transform, the amazing people we see, personalities, people that have lovely characters and all that, it took a lot of time, years, patience, discipline, everything for their parents to be able to, shape them into what people have seen and what people like. Yes, I think it's better this way. Yes, this is better, right? So that's what we're going to be talking about today, raising wholesome children. We're also going to be highlighting some of the common parenting mistakes that you have seen and observed, maybe from the perspective of a former head of school, or just from your profession in general, right? But before we go into the mistakes, let's just even talk about the topic, raising wholesome children. So, Ma, what do you understand, or what does it mean to raise a wholesome child? Because people hear parents to be, everybody wants a wholesome child, but what does it even mean? Who is a wholesome child? What does that even mean? Let's start from there.
Okay. Thank you very much, Ife. It's a great privilege to be here, and I don't take this for granted. I believe that we're all going to enjoy this Insta life, and we're all going to be learning together because you can't know it all when it comes to
Right.
parenting. You have to, keep
Yeah.
learning, keep learning. All right. So I believe that when you refer to a child as, being wholesome, it means that it could be referring to a child who has a solid foundation.
Mm.
You and when you talk about the solid foundation, that means that the emotional, physical, and moral well-being of that child is good. You
Mm.
understand? And because of the foundation that has been laid, these
Right.
children are like well-mannered, they're upright,
Mm.
they exhibit, a sense of purpose,
Yeah.
So it's their foundation.
Right.
All this comes from their foundation. And that's why it's very important that, as parents, we lay a right foundation
Awesome.
for the children. So, I mean, once you have a strong foundation, your child can be classified,
Mm.
as a wholesome, a wholesome child. Once the foundation has been laid and the foundation is strong.
Awesome.
Okay.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that, Ma. So now we're going to talk about this foundation because that is what everybody wants to know, right? And the role of parents in raising wholesome children. So our role is obviously the foundation bits that you're talking about.
Yeah.
So what is the foundation? What are the things that we're supposed to do as parents in order to raise wholesome children?
Okay. So, um, the most important
Mhm.
thing is to have a nurturing environment for your
Right.
child.
Mm.
An environment that is stable, like a nurturing home environment, an environment that is stable, an environment where your child feels accepted, where your child is free to talk, free to learn, free to do whatever. You understand?
Okay.
Once this environment once this nurturing environment, once your child has been raised in this nurturing environment, the child can go out to exhibit whatever because you have put everything that the child needs within that environment.
Mm.
So having a nurturing environment, that is very, very key because, I mean, if you have a nurturing environment, you are going to be supporting, the physical development of that child. You are going to be supporting the mental development, the social development. How do you support the physical development of that child? By ensuring that within that environment, your child eats healthy, your child, has enough rests, your child, pays attention to, her well-being, his or her well-being, and mental development, within that environment, parents are supposed to provide opportunities for learning, send them to school. And apart from school, also expose them to learning opportunities,
Mm.
like take them to museums, take them to art galleries, expose them to books. That is how you develop their mental, that's how you develop the mental development of a child. That's the focus on mental development. And then when you say social development, because these are all the things that should be within the environment. This is how you nurture the environment. You nurture their physical development, their mental development, their social development. You teach your child how to, communicate well. You teach them how to learn, conflict resolution, teamwork within that home environment. You know, and once your child is able to learn all these things
Mm.
at home, your child will go out into the world
Mm.
and face whatever. So you have, as parents, we have to just ensure that the environment that we are raising our child in is nurtured. Our children must feel happy within that environment. They mustn't feel threatened.
Mm.
You know, if they go out there and people are criticizing them, they know that they have your backing at home. You understand? So our environment needs to be nurturing so that the children will be able to thrive.
Wow, fantastic. Wow, nurturing environment. Okay. So you said something about freedom, right? Free to speak, free to express themselves, be who they want to be, and then we're supposed to try to support them, right? But how do we manage freedom? And I can give a practical example. Back then, anyway, and it might be an error now, but back then, our parents were very, they restricted us a lot, because, oh, don't go out, you can't do it. The freedom, I mean, we were not free to speak anyhow, to say, you can't even express yourself or say your mind back then, at least when we were younger, right? But now you see that the children of nowadays are more expressive, they want to talk and all that stuff. But managing freedom at the same time, how do you put a balance to that freedom bit, just so that as much as you are trying to allow them to be free to do whatever they want to do, you are also curbing it, and we're not encouraging excesses in the children?
Okay, so I hope I got that question right. Just a bit, just a little bit. Okay, so the children should, yes, please repeat that
Okay,
question.
so you said something about freedom, right? Children should
Yes,
be free. A nurturing environment should encourage
yes,
children. So I'm just talking about the side to freedom, right? As
yeah.
much as expressive, they're to say what they want to say, be who they want to be, and all that. So how do we manage it so that it doesn't tilt to the other side and they become too? I mean, you can now turn your talking cannot become like rudeness, or you're just trying to manage the freedom so that as much as they are free, but there's a balance to the freedom.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So it's good that we allow our children express themselves. It's very good. You see, because if we don't allow them express themselves, they are going to be internalizing, a lot of things. But we have to caution them. We have to also lead by example, because
Right.
the children are watching us.
Mm.
They are seeing how we are relating to others. They are seeing how we are talking to others.
Mm.
They see how we express ourselves. So in as much as we should encourage our children to be outspoken, encourage them to be open, but also let them know when they are saying the wrong thing, all the wrong things, also caution them, but don't shut them down.
Mm.
Caution them,
Mm.
caution them, always remind them that they are role models, that they should be, kind towards them, towards others, that their words should, encourage others, but, don't shut them down. Don't shut them down. Ensure that, and this also still goes back to the home, because at home, if the children are free to express themselves, but when they cross the line,
Mm.
you caution them in a nice way. You explain to them why they shouldn't say this, because this is inappropriate, and bring it back to them, that how would you feel if someone said this, if someone said this to you. So let them understand, the right and appropriate thing to say, and let them also understand what is not appropriate. But don't shut them down. Let them feel free to express themselves, you
Right.
know.
Also,
I also wanted to, sorry, if I wanted to go back to that question of how do parents raise wholesome children.
right.
There are one of the things I didn't explain, unconditional love.
Right.
Unconditional love is very key. Unconditional love. You have to love your child no matter what. You have to model good behavior. You need to have open communication, with your child. You know, I forgot to, mention that unconditional love, open. Your child should be free to discuss anything with you. They shouldn't be afraid, you
Mm.
know, because if you don't allow that freedom for them to discuss anything with you, they'll be discussing from people that may mislead them,
Yeah.
So I forgot to mention that when it, comes to parents raising wholesome children.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Ma. So the part of we not shutting down children, allow them to talk. I don't know if it's me. Somebody can also say it on the chat, but I think children of nowadays talk a lot. They talk too much. The talk doesn't ever end, especially when you have like maybe a 4 year, 5 year, like they literally talk about everything, and you are trying hard as a parent to listen to everything that they're saying, respond to everything they're saying, not say, you talk too much, please keep quiet.
Yeah.
But it's at the your mouth, like, because sometimes the things that they're saying are like, it's a lot of talk. Thank you very much. They talk above their age grade. Like they don't stop. It's okay. And you're trying as an adult to not shut them down like what you have said. But at the same time, you need your sanity, your peace. Like, but they're really talking too much. Is it okay to tell a child that you're talking? Okay, well, how do you manage that kind of situation? Because you don't want to shut child off. You don't want to say, oh, you're talking too much. But or can you say you're talking too much? Can you please stop talking for a second? Just give mommy some 10 minutes or something, and then we talk later. Because sometimes you say that, can we talk later, is a lie. Just 2 seconds, they're back again. But I just said, so how do you manage those? Because I think maybe it's the age they're in, the age when they just
Yes.
talk. But as a parent,
Yeah.
there are things that we have to do. So how do you manage this talking,
Yeah.
and then shutting them down?
Yeah. 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 Is their age actually. And you never say to a child that you talk too much.
Mm,
I don't think it's not right for us to tell the children that they
right.
talk too much, because if we do,
Mm,
at some point in time, when we want them to talk, they will stop talking. And I'm talking about when they begin to grow.
mm,
They are getting older. This is when you need to hear them talk about what is happening
right.
in their lives, what is happening at school. But because you have shut them up, they
Mm,
would not talk to you.
right.
But yes, I know yes, young children are very, some of them are very chatty,
Yeah.
and you could tell them, to just give you a few minutes. Okay, mommy needs to rest. Okay, let's just tell them to give you a few minutes, but they need to talk. That is how they express themselves.
Mm,
They need to talk. And honestly speaking, you will pick some
mm,
things while they're talking. You will pick up some things while they are talking, but never say to a child that you are a chatterbox, you talk too much. No, it would discourage them.
okay.
And maybe that's what they are going to do. Maybe it's this talking they are going to use for a living. But honestly, we have to listen when they talk. I know it could be overwhelming, but don't forget that as they grow,
Mm,
they won't talk as much as they are talking now.
very true.
you know
Very true.
and you will miss that period. You will miss that time when and because your child loves you, she or he has so much confidence in you. That's why they want to talk to you all the time. So
Okay.
we have to allow them.
So much. So I know that people are dropping questions in the question segment. So it's fine to drop your questions, right? So okay, there's a question here. This person says that how okay, so for annual so a wholesome parent would be needed to raise a wholesome child. What does it mean to be wholesome? Our guest already answered this question
Yeah.
about being wholesome. So maybe you missed that. You might want to go back because of time. Now, another question here says, how does one cope with an energetic child, especially when he exhibits his energy too often? This sometimes also leads to triggers on the part of the parent.
Hmm. Okay, so an energetic child. I feel that you have to engage them. Your
Right.
child has so much energy. You have to engage them.
Right.
Let them do something they like.
Mm,
Push that energy towards something.
okay.
You understand? That's the most important thing. But you can't get frustrated because sometimes if we look at ourselves, you may look quiet now, you may look, but were you like this
No.
as a child? No, you
True.
were not. As we have to be patient with the children.
Mm,
We have to be patient with them because someone was patient with us
mm,
when we were children. You
mm.
understand?
Right.
So, I mean, I would suggest that you just look for something,
Mm,
to engage the
right.
child. Look for something, maybe it's an activity, look for how they can,
Mm,
use that energy, in a positive way.
okay.
If they are boys, maybe you can, put them in football,
Mm,
football clubs, just look for different things. And there are different things out there,
right.
but don't be frustrated. Don't be frustrated. And like I said, they
Mm.
are going to grow out of it at some point in time. They are going to grow out of it,
Awesome.
you know.
All right. So there's a question here, and I will take that. But let me take another one from here. Then we'll go to the chat room again. So now, this is the clash that have. This is a question that on the clash that happens between parents and teachers, right? When parents expect that, oh, it's teachers that are supposed to do this in raising their children, and teachers expect that parents should have done a certain thing in raising their children, right? So I'm trying to see how we can strike a balance between the school and parents. So what are the major responsibilities that parents must do that should not be, they should not hand over to teachers or expect a teacher to perform some sort of magic? We're still going to talk about responsibility of teachers, but I want to start with that of parents first, right? And maybe top things that you have observed that is sometimes neglected by parents, and then they expect that the teachers would do based on your experience. What are things that you have observed that parents are the ones that this is your responsibility as a parent, not a teacher's responsibility? Then we'll flip it to also talk about a teacher's responsibility. But let's start with that of parents first.
Okay, I think that parents are supposed to instill values
Okay.
in their children. That is not something you want to leave to someone else. You don't want to leave that to your teachers because you are the ones that know the values
Mm,
that you want to, imbibe in your child. So I think parents are supposed to instill values. Parents are supposed to model behavior
okay.
because your child is soaking in
Mm,
soaking in everything.
mm,
You may not even be aware,
right.
but your child is watching you and they are soaking in a lot because you are their role model. You are their role model. And then, independence. I think parents should, promote independence,
Okay.
and I think parents should monitor the use of media and technology.
Right.
That is very key. You should be in charge of, your child's, you should be responsible for what your child is watching online,
Good.
you know. Ensure your child is responsible online, monitor their screen time. I think that is important because it affects them on
Mm,
the long run if they are left, to social media and technology without, you know, without with it not being monitored, and then I think parents should support education when the children are in school. Support the teachers,
okay.
support the teachers when they send homework. Don't forget the homework is called homework. you know, Ensure, you work with your child,
Mm,
that you do the homework because it also gives you an idea of what your child is learning. It
mm,
helps you know what your child understands and what your child doesn't understand. So I think you need to support learning, support education so that your child is thriving. Sometimes parents will tell teachers, to help them, do the homework. Let my child do the homework at school.
right.
No, I think it should be done at home. And I think parents should build strong relationships with their children. You understand? They should ensure that the children are able to talk to
Mm.
them. You know, if the children are able to talk to them, share their thoughts, they will know when something is wrong. I remember a while ago, I had a story of a child that was left behind in school.
Mm.
He slept in school. So
Wow.
what happened was that the driver went to pick this child and his siblings. The boy was not ready. So the driver went home with the two siblings, dropped them at home, dropped the key and closed for the
Wow.
day. When the parents got home late, they just went to bed. They got a phone call the following morning because from the school,
Wow.
when they when the whoever opens the door in school, when the staff got to school, they noticed this child was in school. They called the parents. That was when the parents realized the child did not sleep at home. But I feel that if you connect with your child every day or almost every day,
Mm.
that won't happen.
Next.
You go home late, I still at least check on the children to be sure everyone is there. You send your driver to pick up the children or whatever, just follow up and monitor. So I think that, our relationship with the children should be,
Mm.
should be key, the children should be free to talk to us when they are going through certain things, they should be able to come to us. So I think the teachers expect that parents should also build, strong relationships with, their children.
Awesome. Wow. So things like I love that response. So things like values, things like respect,
Yeah.
things like communication, it's from the home that children.
Home. Yeah. Yeah.
But sometimes communication, or maybe it depends on the type of communication, because most of the time a lot of their communication is even from school, because that's when they're with their peers. And
Yeah.
about communication in terms of parents to child openness,
Yeah.
or that's the one you're talking about.
Yes.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Because most of the words that they learn, everything is really from school, and they engage
Yes.
with their friends.
Yes.
I love.
But yes, you are right. Most of their communication is from, but when you have a close relationship with your child, you communicate, you would also be able to correct some of the things your child is learning, from school, from his friends, or you would be able to correct. But if you are not, you know, if you haven't built that close relationship with your child, you're not engaging with that child, the child may be learning some wrong things from their friends, and you are not there to correct it.
It's amazing. That's so good, so good. So we're going to talk about teachers now. Then I'll go to the question that is on the chat room before we continue. But you said something about independence, right? And I think I want you to just dwell on this a little bit more. Independence, because sometimes you see that some children are very, I don't know if the word to use is, they don't want to do anything by themselves. They always depend on someone to do something for them. They are just always doing to, oh, my mommy this, or this one that, as everything is just, you can see that that is not an independent child. It's easy to spot a child that is not able to do things by themselves and all that. But how do we as parents, what are some of the things that we can do to build independence in our children?
I think we indulge them a lot. You know, we don't, and we should not expect perfection when we're just teaching them to be independent, but you should ensure they become, responsible from a very young age.
Okay.
For instance, a 3-year-old child should be able to, take his plate to the kitchen after eating. You should, give them little things.
Okay.
A child at that age, the children should be able to feed themselves. But I think as parents, sometimes we indulge them. I'll give you a typical example. There was a day a grandmother came to pick up her grandson. The child was in playgroup, so that means he was 2 plus. She came to pick up her grandson, in school, and he wasn't ready. He was eating, he was having lunch. And grandma stood by the window with her mouth wide open. And then she called the teachers to say, This boy sitting down, eating solid independently. When he's at home, we run after him with his cereal
Very
bowl.
true. Very true.
We run after him, because the children know. They
They
know some of the things that they won't do, at school, they are doing it at home.
true.
So we have to ensure that they become independent, but it doesn't happen in a day. You
Right.
understand? Start bit by bit. Your child doesn't want to feed himself. Mommy, you have to feed him. Okay, let's start. I will give you 1 spoon, then you take 1 spoon. I will give, and then gradually, like that. But we have to keep, pushing things at them, allowing them do things, allowing them carrying stuff, like sometimes at some point in time, we used to say this at school that, allow your child carry his bag, allow your child, is when they are with mommies, where they are with their mommies and daddies that,
So,
they let down their guards. But, when they are with their friends, when they're in school, they are more independent. So I think parents need to, begin to see that these children are at that stage where they can be dependent, and they should begin to throw things at them. Go and bring this. Go and bring that. I have a baby sister. Okay, go and bring your baby's feeding bottle. Go and bring just let them little things, as they grow, and they would do it. They would do it. But sometimes we just assume that they cannot do these things. So I think it's parents that we are the ones that indulge these children.
and I love the example that you gave, because this happens a lot. Because at home, these children, they're just up and about. But when you get to school, the teacher says sit down, they sit as if they are
Yeah,
very, they're afraid. If I say, oh, I'm going to call your teacher, don't call my teacher, don't
yeah,
call my, like,
yeah,
what are these teachers doing that parents are not doing? Is it the fact that there is no emotional, I don't know, attachment? So a teacher is very logical, they're very objective,
yeah,
there's no emotion, know exactly what to do. But with the parents, sometimes, like you said,
yeah,
we indulge emotions. Okay,
yeah,
let me help you. Let me just pity you. So I think
yeah,
that teachers don't have all that. So it's very for them to, bring the best out of them. Okay.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And giving them responsibility. I can see that.
Yeah.
My daughter wrote that on the chat.
Okay.
Giving them responsibilities. Yeah,
Awesome.
yeah.
So now let's talk about teachers, right? This before I
Okay.
teachers. So what are the responsibilities of teachers? You've talked about parents now in building
Mm.
households. What are teachers' primary responsibilities concerning our children?
Okay, so I believe the teachers play a very vital role because the influence they have on the children is, cannot be overlooked because the children spend, about 40 hours plus
Hmm.
per week with them in school, so they encourage learning, learning, of course, imparting knowledge, is there. They provide emotional support to the children. Sometimes the children come to school unhappy. Sometimes they are bothered about things going on between, their friends, between them and their friends. They express themselves. Sometimes they are discouraged. So the teachers provide a lot of emotional support, and then they encourage positive behavior. They have class rules, so there are things that the children, should not do in class. And then they encourage independence. I talked about that. They encourage independence, you know. They help in the area of social skills, because they allow the children to interact, with one another. They allow the children to work together as a team, and also, under that, the children are encouraged to resolve conflicts with each other, and that also falls under social skills. So the teachers encourage, they contribute to the children's social skills, and they collaborate with parents. They collaborate with parents. Let the parents know how the child is progressing, at school, and what the parents can do, to help. And they also reinforce the values you are teaching at home. They reinforce the values in school. They teach the children to be kind, to have empathy towards their friends, to be respectful, you know. Yeah, so that's it. But I want to encourage, like you said, I want to encourage that we shouldn't point fingers. We shouldn't say the teachers are supposed to do this or the parents are supposed to do this. I believe it should be collaboration between the teachers and the parents because we are all working together for the same goal. Yes, it's the teacher's responsibility to be there for the children during school hours, and after school hours, the parents take over. But nobody can work alone. Nobody can work alone. We need each other's support. We need the support of the teachers. We need the support of the parents. We need the support of friends, grandparents, because it takes a community to raise a child. So we need each other's support.
Thank you for that, ma'am. So let me quickly go. Somebody on the chat group, Queen, dropped a question for you. So she said, you spoke about environmental nurturing and visiting places like art galleries. For parents who perhaps don't have access to funds for that or have never been to such places, how can they nurture a wholesome child?
Hmm. The work has to be done at home. I mentioned it. It's at home. It's not, I mean, just exposing your child like that is just part of, it's just part of the children learning, in a nurturing environment. But that is not the core, you know. And you don't need to have money to even expose these children to things like that. Taking your child to work is a learning opportunity for that child, you know. So you work in a particular, kind of office, and you are saying today we are going to work together, and your child sees everything you do when you're at work. So every opportunity can be used as a learning tool. You understand? So we shouldn't give the excuse of, I don't have money to take my child to gallery. You don't have to do that. You understand? But there are so many things you can expose your child to. But the most important thing is that your environment, the nurturing environment at home, what are you doing with your child at home? You understand? Ensure the environment at home is safe. Ensure your child is happy at home. Ensure your child is able to express, himself at home. So, different things like that.
Great.
So you don't have to have money. If we are using
Okay, I just stopped hearing you. Was it just me? Just say something. Say hello.
hi,
Okay, great. I can hear you now again. Awesome.
okay.
So, thank you for that, ma'am. Now, there's another question here, which is pretty much a question that I had, right? Vega says, in giving a child the freedom to explore and express themselves, at what point do you use the rod on them? As the Bible says, spare the rod and spoil the child. And it's funny because I also have here beating children is a form of discipline. If yes, between what age range is this effective and when must it be stopped? So I think they're very similar questions anyway. So at what point do you use the rod on them? So
Okay. This question is very, very sensitive.
hmm,
Okay. Beating as a form of discipline is very controversial. Personally, I don't believe that you have to beat your child to get your message across to that child.
great.
But the truth is that we all have different ways of raising our children. I remember a parent bringing a cane to school and saying, Mrs. Banjo, this cane is for my child. Anytime she misbehaves, this
Wow.
is what you are supposed to use. I said, no, we can't use that. What is discipline? Discipline means to teach or to correct. So as parents, we need to find out what works,
Hmm,
what is effective for your child. Because the truth is that what is effective for child A, it may not be effective for child B.
very true.
So when you discipline a child, you are trying to correct, a wrong behavior. And honestly, I don't feel that until we use a rod, you know, because it works for some children, but it may not work for some other children. I will give you a typical example, and I think I have this example in my book. There was a time, some preschoolers were being potty trained. And these children were like 2 years old. And at some point in time, because they were taking them to the potty, ensuring that they don't make a mess. At some point in time, when a child, out of the preschoolers, when a child makes a mess,
Mm.
maybe he pees on himself. The other toddlers will say, "Why didn't you tell Auntie? Why didn't you tell?" They will hit him. "Naughty girl, why didn't you tell? Why didn't you tell?" So, because these children did not want the other children to hit them or to scold them, once they want to use the potty, they will start shouting and calling the auntie's name. So it looked like he was walking very fast because they were not, they were not, they were getting the potty training.
Yeah.
But
Okay, I just stopped hearing you again now.
can you hear me?
Better now.
Okay. A particular child peed on
Mm.
herself. And the children said, "Why did you?" They were scolding her. "Why didn't you tell Auntie? Why didn't you?" They were scolding her, and they even hit her and everything. And then she went into the classroom and pulled in the
Oh
classroom
wow.
on herself. That told me that beating and the scolding hardened that child.
Right.
So sometimes we may feel that, okay, if I beat this child, the child will, and it may just harden the child.
Mm.
Because sometimes children will feel that at the end of the day, what is it? Mommy will spank me, and
Mm.
that's all.
Mm.
But when we dialogue and let the children know, sometimes it's because we are not patient enough to do that. We just feel that the easiest thing is just to bam, just to hit the child. You understand? But when we have discussions with the child and let the child know why you should not do this. Because when we are beating the children, and most of the time as parents, we beat these children when we are angry.
Very true.
We beat them when we are angry. So do they understand? Do they get it? But I feel that if we sit them down and explain, explain, you shouldn't do this
Right.
because of this. And then, of course, there are other things you can do. You can remove privileges. You understand? You can remove privileges. You can punish them, And when I say don't beat, I'm not saying don't punish or anything. You can punish
Mm.
them, but hitting them will make them afraid.
Right.
You understand? And at the end of the day, they may begin to pretend.
Mm.
So you can discipline. In the
Mm.
school, in the younger classes, playgroup class, we send them to the thinking corner. When you are naughty, go to the thinking corner, go and sit down and think about what you have done.
Right.
So that's my own perspective. So I won't say, at what age, because if you start beating a child at age 3, then you have to continue. You
Mm.
understand? But I feel that there are different ways
Mm.
you discipline your child. And ensure that when you discipline your child, whatever form of discipline you are going to use, let your child know that it's the behavior I'm trying to correct. I love you, but it's the behavior. So that the children don't feel that, you hate them, you dislike them. That is why, So
Um,
I feel that I don't know what works, what works for you, but I don't believe in, you know, beating. I believe that you can do you can use different forms of discipline to correct your child.
I hope that we can practice this because it's very
I
hard.
hope so.
Very
Yeah,
hard because sometimes you just feel like when you hit them when they are still young,
yeah,
just goes.
yeah,
But I what you said.
yeah,
All right, so now
yeah.
let's talk about things that have
I can't hear you. Sorry.
hear me. Any, can you?
Okay. Okay.
Okay, great. So we're going to talk about some of the common parenting mistakes that you have observed, right? Some errors that you think that parents are making that we need to quickly correct so that it doesn't continue. What are some of those mistakes that you have observed?
Okay. Comparing your child to others, it's wrong for us to compare our children to others. You
Okay.
know, we should not even compare them to their siblings. We shouldn't compare them to their friends, because it damages that child. What
Mm,
we are trying to say to that child is that you're not good enough.
mm,
Your friend or your sibling is better. So we should not compare, because it also breeds jealousy.
okay.
When you compare that child to, a particular child, maybe their friends, that your child will begin to feel hatred
Mm,
or a form of jealousy towards that child, because your child will feel that, okay, so that child is favored. And then, it also puts your child under a lot of pressure.
okay.
The truth is that each child will grow and mature, you know, in their own unique ways, So I think that it's important that you don't compare. I remember a parent telling me that she was discussing with her child, and her child was in secondary school then. She was discussing with her daughter and said to her daughter that there are three pupils, in your year group that are always receiving
Mm,
prizes. You know how parents will say, they'll say, Timmy, Tayo, and Lara, they're always topping the class.
mm,
They don't have two heads, so that you can just try and enter, that group. So she was nagging and telling her child that you can, and then her child told her, first to third position has owners. So I'm not even going to try.
wow.
you know so when we compare, sometimes the children just give up. The children just
Mm,
feel that they can't be as good as the other person, and then inconsistent. We should not be inconsistent as parent. It's a big mistake that we make as parents. Just ensure that when you say yes,
eh,
your yes is yes. When you say no, your no is no, because you confuse the children. When you are inconsistent as a parent, you confuse the children. For instance, you promise your child, okay, I want you to do this. If you can do this, I would give you something.
mm,
And then your child, goes all out, carries out that assignment you have given her. And at the end of the day, you change your mind. You know,
mm,
you will discourage that child.
mm,
You discourage that child. So you should ensure that you are consistent as a parent. And then expecting perfection from the
mm,
children is also a common mistake, parenting mistake. We should not, I mean, we are not perfect.
mm.
We were not even perfect. We should allow the children make mistakes. They make mistakes, but let them just learn from that mistake they have made. Because sometimes, because we're expecting perfection, the children will do anything to ensure they meet up to that expectation. Some of them can go as far as cheating in exams because they know that this is what mommy wants. I remember seeing a child crying bitterly in school because that child didn't get 100%.
Mm,
This child got like
wow,
98%.
wow.
And he was crying and saying that I'm in trouble. I'm in trouble. The teacher was saying, you tried, you did well. 98% is good. But the child kept saying, I'm in trouble. I'm in trouble. My mom will not be happy. So it just puts a lot of pressure on the children. And then body shaming. Body shaming is something I want
Wow.
to talk about. Body shaming is when we criticize, or say negative comments about, the children's appearance, maybe their weight, their size, or, whatever, it affects some children negatively. And sometimes we don't even know how it affects the child. Sometimes parents joke over it, like calling a child a robber or saying, your head is so big like a coconut. All those things, like it's not good. And I will use myself as an example, and this is very funny. You know, as a child, if you know, for people who have seen me physically, they know I have like a curvy, I have like, they call it bum bum or booty. You understand? For people who have seen me. And, for a long time, I hated it.
Mm.
I hated it for a long time because as a young child,
Mm.
people will focus on it.
Yeah.
I had a godmother who, anytime she's coming to the house, as she's coming in, she will begin to sing. Simponjo, idiremi, Simpo. You understand? And what it means is that Simba is dancing,
Oh
her bum bum is shaking.
my God.
Then I would dance and I would, but at some point in time, I started thinking that why are they focusing on this part of my body? It must be that it's not good.
Mm.
You understand? So I hated it. You
Mm.
understand? So when we do that, when we body shame the children,
Mm.
it affects their self.
Right. Oh, okay, we can hear you again.
It
Okay.
makes them, it affects their self-esteem, and it makes them feel they are not good
Mm.
enough. And I must say this, even as parents, when you notice other people,
Oh my God, the sound just went off again.
can you hear me?
Better now. Can hear you again now.
Okay. Okay. So I'm saying that as parents, when you hear or you notice other people body shaming your child, step in. Don't keep quiet. You understand?
Okay.
Because we don't know. The children internalize these things
Mm.
and it affects their self-esteem. So I think body shaming is also, one of the parenting mistakes we make. And then speaking negative words to our children, that is also, wrong, and then not being involved enough. We as parents, we should be involved, with our child. Yeah,
Great.
that's it. There. Okay.
Those answers, like those answers are so good. And I like the inconsistency part and expecting perfection. The example that you just gave about a child that had 98% and was very afraid is just
Yeah.
so that we parents sometimes put a lot. I know that we parents want our children to excel academically, and we do our best. Some people go as far as getting private teachers for their children. They're following up on their,
Yeah.
sometimes when they don't do so well, you feel so bad. But I guess we should be able to balance, encouragement and the academic push with not making
Yeah.
them afraid, when they're
Yeah.
out. My God, I remember one time when I was also afraid in school because my dad was very passionate about our academics. He did a lot, so you must not fail
Yeah.
because he really cares. But I guess that's the difference between then and now, and that takes me to my next question, right? The things that used to happen then in those days, how parents raised children and how we can raise children now. No audio, please let me know. Is it me that you cannot hear, or is it our guest? Please let me know so that I will not keep talking. So can you hear me? Can you hear us? Ma, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. I
Okay,
can hear you.
just you guys can just drop it so that we know, right? But anyway, let me just quickly continue. So okay, you can hear. Thank you very much. So things that we parents of now cannot repeat that happened then when parents were raising us, or maybe even your generation or my generation, right? And I know that we cannot raise the children of nowadays the same way that some of us were raised. So what are some of the things that you can just quickly highlight that we cannot afford to repeat in time now? Thank you very much, everyone.
Okay. Firstly, the way we raise our daughters and our sons,
Okay.
then we can't afford to repeat that, because then we would pay a lot of attention to our daughters. We are teaching our daughters how to take care of themselves, how to take care of the house, how to cook, how to do house chores. But then the boys are left out. Parents cannot afford to repeat that, because at the end of the day, you'll be raising a husband that cannot care for himself,
Mm,
not to talk of caring for his family.
all right.
So we cannot, and then there's a lot of awareness now when it comes to mental health and emotional well-being.
Mm,
Then we were not paying attention to those things.
mm,
We cannot afford to do that now. We have to know what can trigger some of these things,
mm,
in our children. And we have to ensure that our children are stable emotionally, their mental health is intact. So we have to, be knowledgeable about that area. And then the children are in a digital world. It's a digital world for them now. They have smartphones, iPads, and everything. We have to ensure that we can't leave them to those things. We have to ensure now that we look for different ways to ensure our children are safe online. And yeah, I think basically that's yeah.
awesome. So we cannot. I like the first point you made about raising girls and boys separately, right? Okay, somebody is saying here that pay attention to sexual education early in life.
Oh
I think
yeah,
that's so,
very, very true.
yes, that's so true.
Very, very true. Very, very true. We used to be careless. Some parents would be careless then.
Mm,
For instance, you would have your cousins your cousins and friends, staying over, and you allow the girls and the boys to sleep together. Then you can't do that now. In this day and age, you cannot do that. Yes, that's very important. Thank you for that.
that's even a topic on its own. Sexual
Mhm.
education,
Yeah.
because sometimes some people are saying they don't know where to start, they don't know how to have the conversation, and I know that there are some courses on it. So I think this is even a topic
Yeah.
on its own, and it's
On its own. Yeah.
in
Yeah.
children. Okay, so let me just ask the last question because I know that we have to run, right? Some parents, because you've said a lot, right? You said about talking about how we must be about discipline. You talked about how we must be connected with our children, allow them to be free, ensure that we have a nurturing environment for our children, allow them to be themselves, communicate. I mean, you said a lot, raising independent children, instilling values and all that, and you've also highlighted some of the mistakes that you have seen parents make. You've talked about body shaming, and in fact, until you said it, because we say it a lot as a joke, horrible. We just say it as a
Yeah.
this your child is an horrible. But hearing you talk about body shaming now just makes us know that, okay, maybe those kind of comments, we might be saying it in a playful way. We're not
Yeah.
don't mean it in a negative way, but
Yeah.
somebody as no, don't say horrible to a child. They might be feeling something
Yeah.
about their physical,
Yeah.
and that is
Yeah.
a very fantastic
Yeah.
point that I never thought about. Even sometimes I'll tell my child I'm horrible. Maybe good. I've learned something very, very important, right? You might say I
Yeah.
so chubby, but the way you say it's horrible.
Great. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So for people who have already made mistakes, because for all of us here, we have heard a lot, and some of us have even seen some places where we have erred, right? And some people are feeling like, how do I even start to make corrections? How do I go back and correct my mistakes? Because now some people have shut their children up, and because you've
Yeah.
that some children are not free to speak to their parents again, and you said you talked about mentioned that children are able to speak to their parents about anything, and maybe knowingly or unknowingly with the things that have been done, you have shut down a child, you have not paid as much attention as, I mean, with all the examples you have given us. How do we correct for those who have maybe erred in some ways? Is it too late, or how do you start to make correction in raising a wholesome child? Because I know that that's everybody's desire at the long run.
Yeah. Yeah. Firstly, you have to acknowledge or admit that you have made, some
Mm,
mistakes, and let your child know. Let your child know that you are not perfect. That as a parent, you're not perfect. You are still learning. So admit, you're wrong, and then sincerely apologize to your child. You have to sincerely apologize to your child, and let your children or your child know the changes you are going to make so that you would not repeat, those mistakes again. And you have to be honest about it. Please don't make empty promises. Don't tell your child, for instance, if you are someone who gets angry easily, don't tell your child, I will never be angry with you again. That will happen. Just tell your child that you are going to put in a lot of effort to ensure that this doesn't happen again. So let them know the changes you are going to make. And then it's important for you to ask for feedback from your child on how you can improve as a parent. Let them give you feedback, and build a better relationship with your child, spend quality time with them. I've mentioned that, but that also helps, so that when something is going, something is wrong, when something is wrong, or when your child notices that, you are derailing, because you have that good, relationship, they can tell you, Mom, I don't think you should do this, because you understand, they can talk to you freely and you quickly adjust. And then educate yourself, get information about parenting, read books, attend workshops, just get help. You can also get mentors, people that can mentor you. And then you have to forgive yourself. Forgive yourself for the past mistakes you have made. No parent is perfect. We are still learning, and it's never too late, you know. It's not late. It's not too late. It's never too late. But unfortunately, sometimes damage has been done. And, sometimes this damage has affected a child, but you try as much as possible to build that relationship back with your child. Be ready to swallow your pride as a parent, because when a relationship between a child and a parent has been damaged, the responsibility falls on the parent. The parent is the one supposed to repair the damage. You don't wait for Ife has disappeared though.
Happened to is nice.
Okay. You know, you have to make amends. You have to just keep trying, acknowledge your mistakes, just also ask for God's help, so that the relationship, the broken relationship can be repaired, but it's never too late. It's never too late. It's never too late.
Wow,
Yeah. So,
very amazing session. I have personally learned a lot. Wow, thank you so much, ma. Thank you very much.
you're
God,
welcome.
wow,
Yeah.
we've had
Oh,
amazing time, and I know that, I mean, seeing the feedback from the chat room, seeing people's comments, and I like this last point on apologizing, because I think that, I mean, and that's another mistake, in fact, because back then parents never used to apologize to their
they
children.
don't.
They,
Yeah.
if they
Yeah.
hit them, or they it was a wrong discipline, like maybe child didn't even do it or something,
Yeah.
nobody's saying to anybody. But
Yeah.
now that children will even ask you to apologize, you
Yeah.
sorry,
Yeah.
right? And I know that it's sometimes, because we didn't grow up doing that, you find it weird, but I think it's very important that we learn how to apologize to our children. So thank you so much, ma. Thank you
You're
very
welcome.
for agreeing to be a part of this session. We have learned a lot. In fact, I wish that
Yeah.
I had more time. I mean, but it was a fantastic session. And for everybody who joined, I'm going to allow Miss Banjo to tell us a bit about herself, what she does in this space, right? So this is Effect Talks, and what we do really is to bring in professionals, experienced professionals, to come here monthly. We talk about different topics, anything that would add value to your life is what we discuss. Talk about children, marriage, relationship, career, entrepreneurship, finance. I mean, everything, sexuality. There's nothing that we don't talk about, as long as it would add value to you. Money, we're talking about it. So what we do is we bring people who have experienced this. For example, now we're talking about raising wholesome children, and Mrs. Banjo has enough experience in this field, because she's been the head of school for like 20 years, and now she's doing this professionally, right? So this is what we do: bring people to come and talk to us on a monthly basis. So first off, if you're not following Ife Talks, you need to follow. If you're not following Miss Banjo, you need to follow, because there are things that you're going to be learning from both pages. So now I'm going to allow Miss Banjo to talk a bit about herself, about how we can reach her, what she does for children, parents, and all that, and how we can benefit from her, basically. So over to you, ma'am.
All right. Thank you very much, Ife. I really had fun and I appreciate you. So, I offer educational consultancy services in different areas. So if you're running a school or if you are just starting, you're about starting to, you want to start a school, you can reach out to me. I also do one-on-one consulting with parents. That's also available. But feel free to send an email to me on simbobanjo@yahoo.com, or reach out to me on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, at simbo.b or simbobanjo. You find me on all these different platforms. And then I have two books. I have a parenting book called Raising Your Child on Purpose, and I also have a children book called Have You Met Almond? Please get the book at Role Model School or Family First Bookshop, which is within Daystar Christian Center, or you can just check my bio for more information. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma. So I mean, you need to, yes. So thank you for putting the email address here, simbobanjo@yahoo.com. So if you want to reach her, you can reach her there. And then if you want to, you can also send her a DM.
Yeah.
If you need a professional expertise in these areas. So thank you,
Yeah.
ma. Thank you for your
Also
time.
training. I'm also involved in training to
Awesome.
teachers training, different kind of trainings. Yeah.
Training for teachers
Teachers.
and parents.
Yes. Yes.
Great,
Yes.
great. Thank you. Thank you so much, Maori. Now I'll allow you go. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. I appreciate.
So I hope that you follow Mrs. Banjo, because you need we will all need to learn from her. We will all need, in terms of parents,
Thank you.
in terms of schooling and all that is very important, right? And then follow Ife Talks. Like I said earlier, we do this every month. We bring in people to come and talk to us about different life issues that would impact you, that will bless you, that would help us to make better informed decisions as individuals. So please follow both of us, and I'm sure that you will learn. So till we come again next month, by God's
All
grace,
right.
the page keep bubbling, different things, and we might even come again this month. Most likely there'll be
I'm here.
more. I'm seriously working on something. Hopefully, it clicks and all that. So we'll see you again before the end of this month, by God's grace. Till then, enjoy the rest
Thank you.
of the month. Enjoy.
Bye.
Thank you for tuning in.
Yeah.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.